All right. Hello, boys and girls. We're going to take a look at genocide, what it is, how it's organized, the 8 steps that can lead us to genocide. So let's begin. So to start, I'm always kind of interested in where words come from. So if you take a look at the word genocide, coming from the Greek geno, if you think of like a genus, like in science class, race, or a certain group, and side, the suffix of killing. Okay, so put them together, the killing of an entire race or a group. And you might have seen words that end in side, suicide, self-killing. Patricide is killing your father, your mother, brother and sisters, a baby, another Homo sapien, another person, homicide, pesticide, insecticide. Kind of interesting, though, that the word genocide was never created until actually during the Holocaust by a Polish Jew, Raphael Lemkin, because this thing has never been, I guess, a word to describe it and this magnitude. So just a little background before we jump in. So here's the definition set forth by the United Nations of what a genocide is. And I want you to take note of certain things. Deliberate. If something is deliberate, it's very thought out. It's on purpose. It has a very specific plan. And also systematic. When we look at aerial shots of some of these concentration camps, it almost looks like a factory. It's very assembly line process. So if you look at the word, the definition and just break it down, very thought out, very systematic, destruction or annihilation of a certain group, religion, ethnicity, race, whatever it is. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to look at how we get to genocide. Okay, so the 8 steps of genocide, and I'll have you write these down and we'll come back and we'll go through them one by one. First step is classification. Next, we have to symbolize or symbolization of the group that we're targeting or that's being targeted. Dehumanization, which is a very important cause, and this is where things kind of snowball or escalate. The organization, which is crucial. Polarization, preparation for the actual genocide, the extermination, and then what always usually happens is denial, or say it didn't happen. Okay, so we're going to break down these 8. I'll go through them a little bit one by one, and we'll talk about them more in class. Okay, so step 1, or stage 1, classification. All right, we do this every day. Us, them, Christian, Muslim, American, Iraqi, gays, straight, whatever it is. Bears fans, Packer fans. Packer fans are always way better than Bears fans. But we do this all the time. Okay. Now, this is the first stage. Now, we do this on a daily basis. So just because this happens doesn't mean that you're going to have a genocide. Okay. I want you to note here, the more bipolar a society is. Now, if you've ever taken psychology class, bipolar disorder, you're either extremely happy or you're extremely depressed. Polar opposites. Okay, you think of the North Pole, South Pole. They're polar opposites, or a magnet, the polar ends. Okay, the more bipolar a society is, the more likely a genocide can happen because you're either good or bad. There's nothing in between. Okay. The second step is symbolization. A lot of times we'll see this, and most of you might recognize the Star of David, the yellow star that Jews had to wear on their coats at all times. And we'll look at it. They have a very complex system of symbolization, from criminals and homosexuals and Jehovah's Witnesses and political opponents. So with symbolization, the groups are classified, all right, and they're given symbols so they could be told apart from the rest of society. Now, sometimes this can be skin color, which you have that symbolization already, and we'll see genocides that there's a certain race that looks differently, has that symbolization attached to them. Now, again, just because they have the symbolization does not mean that a genocide is going to happen. So, first you classify them, Then you get the symbols to really identify them. And then the dehumanization. Okay, and if you look at the prefix of D, it's removing or getting rid of. This one, and we'll see this in Nazi Germany and a lot of the other genocides, when the humanity of the targeted group is really almost denied. They're seen as rodents and insects and parasites, the cancer of society. Okay. Now, once this takes hold, and we're going to think about why this is so important, if you can dehumanize a group to the point that they're just a rat, it's going to be much easier to kill them. And we'll see this very deliberate, systematically play out in Nazi Germany. And as it says here, once this takes hold in society, and we'll look at the propaganda in Nazi Germany, how they start at a young age, 2, 3-year-old. The Poisonous Mushroom is a children's book. You think about like a Dr. Seuss book written for kids, really dehumanizing certain groups, and Jews especially. So once this takes hold, it's going to be very difficult to stop the progression of the genocide. Okay. Stage 4, the organization. So you got the classification, you give the symbols, all right, dehumanizing, and organization, all right. They're systematic, they're deliberate, okay. And anytime you're going to exterminate a large group of people, you're going to have a lot of money. You're going to have a lot of organization. A lot of times the country either sponsors it directly or indirectly, okay. In Nazi Germany, it's directly sponsored. The government is the one doing the genocide. Or it can be indirectly. The government just kind of lets it happen, turns the other cheek, turns away, doesn't look. But either way, the organization is crucial. Okay, this is kind of the calm before the storm. It's when things are just getting ready. We'll look at the Nazi Holocaust, and we'll see the first solution, the second solution, the final solution that's really set up and very organized, detailed plans. The roots of the actual extermination, this is where it happens. Okay, so first you classify, then you get the symbols, then you dehumanize, then you really organize. The next one is polarization. Okay, now in this one, we're going to see increased propaganda. We're going to see, discriminatory laws being created and enacted. And this one, we start to see, just like it sounds, polarization. You're either here or here, nothing in the middle. Okay, so if you're one of these people that's sympathizing with the victims, well, you're going to be threatened, attacked, murdered, put in a camp, whatever it is. A lot of times kids will ask, Mr. Flynn, why doesn't anybody do anything about this? And we'll look at the camps later on. And the first camp that's going to be up and running and operating is Dachau in Germany. And there's tens of thousands of Germans that spoke out early on in this Holocaust, in Hitler's reign, that they got put in Dachau early on. So when all those people that are sympathizing are gotten rid of, all you have left is the victims and the oppressors, and there's not a lot of in between. Okay, so on to the next one, preparation. Okay, this is where the dominant group physically separates the victimized group from the rest of society. This will be the ghetto system in Nazi Germany or throughout the Third Reich. So again, to have a mass extermination, you have to have all of the people in one spot. Okay, so because we've already polarized society, remember the last step here, polarization. Okay, you're either good or bad in the eyes of the government or the state. Okay, we'll see the ghetto system set up throughout Poland, Eastern Germany, as a way to really separate and get ready for the extermination, which is the 7th step you see here at the selection process. Okay, this is where it legally becomes a genocide. This is where the mass killings occur. So from something that we all do every day, classifying people, and then the symbolization and the dehumanizing, all right? And going through and organizing and polarizing, you're either one or the other. And then the groups are put into one area that they can be killed much easier, very organized, quickly, systematically. We'll look at the gas chambers and the crematorium. They're running constantly, in, out, assembly line, process. I mean, very organized, okay? And the last step after the killings are done is denial. We'll see, leaders of countries today still denying that the Holocaust happened or was organized. We'll see mass graves dug up, bodies burned, evidence destroyed, witnesses killed, intimidated, bribed, blackmailed. Okay, oftentimes investigations are blocked by the government. All right, we'll see, the country Turkey today. The Armenian genocide, which happened in 1915, still today doesn't say that it was a genocide. It says, yes, a lot of people died and it was sad and it was during World War I, but it wasn't a genocide, okay? And you'll also see the victims being blamed for what happened. Yeah, they deserved it, or it was all part of war, okay? So we started something as simple as classification and going through this whole step and kind of snowballing until we get to the end of extermination and lastly, denial. So we'll talk about this and review this all in class. So use this to go back and review when you need to. Okay, have a good day.